Hey guys, it's Ashish here. Welcome to the FPL xGod podcast for your game weekly OD of XG. FPL xGod Pod is a home for the most relevant and up to date tips for your FPL needs. I use a variety of FPL tools that are available online, premium and free tools. This should be your go to podcast for a friendly chat for your weekly FPL and a one stop shop for all the data you may need to dominate your FPL mini leagues. So join in and boost up your overall rank. Let's get started. One of the FPL tools I use on a weekly basis to decide my transfers is the Fantasy Football Hub player comparison tool. This tool will help you compare any number of players for how many other game weeks, and you can decide which player is better for you based on the underlying stats and the major stats. Underlying stats can be overwhelming, but they're here to help you. They basically include stuff like XG, XA, and X points. XG is essentially the expected number of goals a player was supposed to score from the shots he took. For example, in the last 5 game weeks, Kane has the highest XG in the entire Premier League. He has a XG of 4.75 and he still managed to score 6 goals. That means he had good service and he was in the right position to score, and yet he overperformed the XG just because of his class finishing. Moving on, Opta stats are also provided by Fantasy Football Hub, and they give you in-depth stats on every single player for all the game weeks possible. So that was what transfers to make. To see when to make the transfers, you have to move to the fplstatistics.co.uk. This is a site that helps you decide what players are rising in price and who are dropping in price. If a player is close to a negative 100, he is very close to a price drop, and if he's close to a positive 100, he's very close to a price rise. You may want to catch these price rises and price falls early on, but you should be aware that there might be some changes based on team news and potential injuries. So stats are for the past, but let's look at the future. Fixtures are the future. Over here, you can see for all the future game weeks what team is playing who and how good is the fixture. Over here, you can compare attacking fixtures and defensive. So you sort it by attacking, and whichever team has the highest number, they are playing the worst defense. And when you sort it by defense, whoever has the lowest number is playing the poorest attack. So that's how you can make your judgments for what transfers to make. And let's move on to what you're here for, the wildcard special. So I played my wildcard trip early in the week and caught a few price rises and dropped quite a few price falls. Over here in a league page, you can see quite a few extra statistics. This is through Better FPL, which is a Chrome plugin. It gives you in-depth stats of your performance throughout the season. Here you can see like overall rank and other things, but we'll focus on the team value for this week. It's 104.7, and which gives me an advantage to get good players and not go for quite a few budget ones. Over here you can see a different team value though. This difference is just because I still have quite a few players owned who I've had since a long time and they've had a lot of price change. So today we'll just be picking a rough 15 players and I'll be finalizing them right before the deadline, but I think you'll get a good idea who I'll be going with. I've made a sheet here. This is an exhaustive list of all the players I'll consider for this wildcard. I don't think I'll go for anyone outside this list. The ones in green that you can see, the Foster, Yorta, and Kane, they're guarantees in my team. Foster is the cheapest keeper and he's a guaranteed starter for now. He will have a double also at some point, so I don't mind him being my second keeper. Yorta, Liverpool have the best fixtures for the run in right now, especially attacking wise. And I'd love to go for a budget one who I think will be the next Gundo and the best price per million player. As for Kane, he is one of the best strikers in the league, and we all know every season towards the end he starts firing even better. He just got the golden boot, and I don't think he's stopping. Not to mention, they also have a double game week next week. So I'll just go ahead, add those players over here. Foster, Kane, and Yorta. So we'll go one by one for each position and decide who to go for. Over here we have Leno, Emmy, and Mendy. For keepers, this is just my shortlist. I don't think I'll consider any other keeper in the league. So for these keepers, the next four fixtures are not favoring Emmy. Overall, even for the final fixtures, they do not favor Emmy. The only advantage you have with him is he will have a double game week at some point. But do you want to go for a relatively bad fixture keeper just for a double game week? My personal choice would be between Leno and Mendy. My choice can depend on which defenders I go for, if I go for Arsenal or Chelsea defenders, but I think I'll go for Mendy. Chelsea's next four fixtures are Crystal Palace, Brighton, West Ham, and Fulham. Arsenal's are Sheffield, Fulham, Everton, and Newcastle. I think they both have a good clean sheet chance. I just prefer Mendy because Chelsea have it in them to keep a clean sheet, but Arsenal always end up conceding an odd goal. To win FPL, you need to find the right combos at the right times. You have to find the good combo of defenders, midfielders, and forwards, and within defenders, you need to get the right budget, mid, and premium. The number can vary from game week to game week. For some week, a 3-2-0 might be good. For some week, it can be a 1-2-2. Let's see if we get what's needed for the week and the weeks to follow. So the first one is Rob Holding. Rob Holding has good fixtures as he spoke about before. He's 4.2 million and should be a starting centre back for them. Mari and Gabriel have never played a game together. Luis has just had a surgery. I think Holding should be safe. And at 4.2, he looks like good value. Nat Phillips was almost a green on my sheet. He's 4 million. He plays for Liverpool. He plays every game. And Liverpool have one of the best fixtures. I think he's a shoo-in. Masuaku is someone I noticed again a few days ago. He is one of the most attacking players in West Ham. When he was fit, he played every single game. He might have a little workload management now, but he should be good. And at 4.3, he's the only West Ham defender I might go for with the upcoming fixtures. As for Weltman, he was good for us, but Brighton have bad game week fixtures now. I don't think I'll go for any of their defenders when the other budget wants to go for. Thank you, Weltman, but I think it's done. As for Luke Shaw, he is probably one of the best fullbacks this season. I definitely want to go for him. He looks fixture proof, and United don't have the worst. I was waiting for Europa League. He did get subbed off at halftime with an injury, but Ole did say he expects him to be okay for the weekend, so we should be fine, I guess. I would be willing to punt on him with the kind of depth I will have. Cody Size have amazing fixtures. They play Fulham, Sheffield, Burnley, and West Brom in the next four. Wolves haven't looked like the same Wolves as last season, but they have showed signs. I might go for one of them if the budget and the combination fits. If I go for one of them, it might just be Cody. Off late, he's been more attacking, even though Size has been more attacking over the season. I might go for form. As for Rudiger Reese, they aren't the most nailed, but they're cheap, and Chelsea have good fixtures. If I had to punt on one, I might go for Reese if I don't have too many punts in my team. Reese is so attacking and he has good assist potential. I might go for him if I go for a Chelsea defender. As for Dawson Soufal, as I mentioned with Masuaku, they don't have the best fixtures. I have no reason to get Dawson, but Soufal I've had since game week 8, so I have him for a good value. Might just keep him for that if I don't take Masuaku. Dallas, I'm not considering for my wildcard. I just want to mention that Leeds have City, Liverpool, United, Brighton, Tottenham in the next 5. They do not look good. I would not go for a defender given the negative point potential. Aston Villa, it's the same with Emi Martinez. They will have a double at some point, but the fixtures don't look the most appealing. There are a lot of defenders I'd rather go for. Trent, I cannot talk about right now. He will come later when I talk about Liverpool assets in general. City, they have a blank soon. They don't have the best fixtures, and you never know with Pep. I don't think I'll end up scratching my head every single week waiting for the lineups, and I can't do that with Pep. Um, I think I'm done with their defenders. Aspie Alonso, they're a weird combination to put over here. Aspie is the most nailed on, but he doesn't have a lot of attacking threat. They cost similar, but Alonso has massive attacking threat, but he's not the most nailed on. There's a Ben Chilwell on the bench, so I'm not really sure if I can go. He's close to the heart, so in the final moments, I might just go for him. Let's see. Ricardo and Castagna have very nice fixtures. They play West Ham, West Brom, Crystal Palace, and Southampton next. I might go for them, but they're very injury prone for that cost. So I'm not really sure. I don't think the combo will fit right for them. Let's move on to the mids. That's the biggest section. So mids is, I would personally say, the most important section in your FPL. Here I've added an extra section which you'll see in forwards also. It's called enablers. These are essentially budget enablers. They are really cheap players who still have a decent chance of playing or returning, but not really, and they allow you to go for more premiums. I might use them if I need it from the budget, but let's see. Let's start with Gundo. So Gundo has been an absolute god. You cannot deny it. But I think Pep's going for the quadruple. He'll play Gundo in the more relevant trophy matches now that the league's almost done. I cannot risk that anymore, and I think I found an able replacement, Diogo Jota. As for his old teammate, Pedro Neto, he has really good fixtures, but they aren't the most attacking team right now. I'm not really sure about Neto. If I need it for the budget, I might just go, but I don't see myself doing that. Rafinha has been an underlying stat god this season. His teammates let him down every single game. It's sometimes it's Liam Cooper, sometimes it's Bamford. I don't know what's it with Leeds, but this man deserves more. They have bad fixtures. I don't see myself keeping him, but if I kept a Leeds asset, it would probably be him. Jay Lings and Bowen. Bowen would not have made the list if not for Antonio's injury. If we get any news that Antonio's out for a while, Bowen looks like a brilliant pick because he will play centre forward. But on a normal time, I'd go for Jay Lings. He has bad underlying stats, but he's been overperforming them, and how? I transferred him out last week, and that was a big miss. But I might just get him in if I have the money for it. Let's see. Suchek, I'm not too interested in. I've not had him this season. I had him in my first wildcard draft, but like never since. He's good, but I don't like a CDM who just goes to attack. Not for me. Saka has good underlying, but he doesn't return. He hasn't scored or assisted in a while. Like he has one or two here and there, but nothing much. I can't look towards him anymore. So in enablers, you have Emil Smith Rowe. He is a Croydon De Bruyne. He is one of the cheapest mids on the game, and he probably might be the cheapest one. He is the best enabler if you go for one. Good fixtures, decent chance of starting, and a very good fifth mid. Berg Bissouma similar, but like why would you go for them if you have him over there? Dingdonker, Jorginho, Lookman are a little expensive, but they're more sure of starting. Lookman is a very attacking one, but he just got subbed off in the last game. He's might not be fit ahead, so why risk it? The mids. Diogo Jota, I've already spoken about him. He's walking in my team right now. Aston Mount and Kai. Chelsea have good fixtures, but they are in UCL and FA Cup. If I was sure they start every game, I might have gone from Mount over Kai because Kai looks more attacking, but Mount has been performing off late. If I go for one of them, it's Mount. James Madison is just coming back from injury. He's a really good asset with their fixtures, especially. I'm not really sure if I can bet when he's just coming back from an injury. Let's see. Grealish, I've kind of given up for the season. Yes, they have a double game week, but Dean Smith has been annoying everyone for the last few weeks. He keeps saying he's back, but he's not really back. I don't think I'm falling for that trap. Luckily I did not fall for it before, not here right now. Let's move on to the most important section of the game. Premium mids. You can see Salah, De Bruyne, Auba, and the lot in this section. Salah he was slacking a little. He was out of form. He did not really have competition for Golden Boot back then, but now it's been taken away from him. I think he's gonna go for it with these fixtures, and they really need top four. They don't look like they can get from UCL now. Like, I think Salah's gonna go for it. I cannot not take him, and that's why I cannot go for Trent. He has really good underlying, but you can have only 3 from a team. I think it's gonna be Salah, Yorda, and Nat Phillips. Trent might just miss out now. Speaking of one FPL god, Bruno, ever since he's arrived in the Premier League, has been a god. He has the most points this season. He has decent fixtures. He's fixture proof. I think I'm going to go for Bruno and not let him go to the end. Another god is Kevin De Bruyne. He is my favorite player in the league. But again, as I said about Gundo, Kevin's going to be safe for the more important games. He might not play this weekend. I wouldn't risk it. Either way, Kevin or Raz would be a 1-week punt. They blank soon. I'll remove them for Son next week. Son plays a double. I'll definitely get him in. Raz, for me, looks like a better punt. I'll probably captain him too. He's a very good differential captain. Low ownership, low effective ownership. I'll probably go for Raheem and captain him and move to Son next week. They play Leeds. Brilliant attacking fixture. Son, as I said, I'm not getting him in this week. He plays United this week and I get him in next week so we can figure then. They blank after that, so I'll probably remove him or Kane then, looking at how it goes. But he's definitely coming in next week. Rashi. I never really considered Rashi as an option given the amount of abundance in the premium section. But he scored a really good goal this night. But I don't think I can go for him over one of Salah, Bruno, Raz or someone. I guess that's it for the mids. Let's see what we pick. For placeholders for now, I'd put Bruno, Lingard, Salah, and Raz. I have no clue how I'm going to afford this, but we can make it happen. Let's move on to the forwards now. As you can see with this draft, I have 11.5 remaining for 2 forwards. I don't really mind this. Let's see how it goes for each one. So let's start with budget again. Chris Wood is actually in some decent form. He had the second highest XG in the last 5 game weeks. He looks good, decent fixtures, but like he generally tends to underperform his XG, so I'm not too sure on him. Let's see. Iheanacho is the big one. Everyone's talking about him, everyone's going for him. I would personally think I'm going for him. He costs very little for almost sure starter and brilliant fixtures and great form. I think I'll go for him. Che Adams has been off and on. I'm not really sure whether he starts also or no. He has been good of late, but hasn't convinced me enough. Neil Maupay is someone I'd like to mention, but even in Brighton's good days, he is not their best. So I wouldn't probably go for him. Enablers in this section is something I might want to look at. Keenan Davis looks like the best one if you want an out-and-out enabler. He hardly plays. He gave an assist last week, but he hardly ever plays. But he's the cheapest one. Brewster is like, I wouldn't really go for Brewster. He hasn't performed at all. Vidra has been performing. We don't know whether he will play when Barnes comes or no, but at point 0.5 more than Davis, he might be a look in if you don't have squad depth. So Laka was one person, as I tweeted last night, that I was looking forward to. I wanted Laka in my wildcard draft, but now that he's played the Europa League, I'm not really sure. He, I wanted him. He looked in good form. He had good fixtures, but I don't even know whether he plays against Sheffield this weekend. He would probably be out of my team now. I've put Richarlison DCL together. They don't have the best fixtures, but they have some pedigree with them. But no, not for me. Cavani looks good. He did not start Europa League. That's good for him. But they're playing Tottenham this week, and I don't think I'd spend that much on a Cavani when he hasn't set the Premier League on fire. Banff is similar to Rafinha in the sense that he's been here for a while. I would feel bad letting him go. I've had the trio of Dallas, Rafinha, Bamford for a long, long time. This might be the week that I let all three of them go. Let's see how it goes with Banff. Antonio is a injury risk. Even if he's not injured, he's an injury risk. He's one of the best players at that range, but I'm not sure if he's fit for the weekend. Watkins without Grealish isn't the same. Aston Villa don't have the best fixtures. They do have a double coming up, but maybe not for me. Kane has already walked in the lineup, so don't need to mention much about him. Like Kane, Yorta, these guys are good captaincy picks in the future, but I'd probably go for premium. Like Kane would be one of them, especially in his double, but generally it would be between Salah, Bruno, Raz, or whoever I have from City. Jamie Vardy. He's been one of the best Premier League forwards of late, like in the last few seasons. His underlying has been bad this season. His main goals have come from penalties. He has been creating a little since Iheanacho started scoring, but he himself hasn't been the same. I'm not really sure if I'll spend 10 million on him and sacrifice the premium mid. Timo Werner was the one player I had walked in, like he was a green when I first made the GameWeek 1 draft. I still cannot believe how unlucky or bad he's been, but he's maybe next season. I don't think I'll get him again this season. As for Jesus Aguero, they have a good chance of playing because they didn't play in the midweek. I would go for them as a 1 week punt over Raz, but I need to get in Son next week and I'd rather have Kane this week. So just because of that, they miss out. But Jesus would maybe just come in for a punt. That's the forwards. Given that and my budget, for now I might just go for like a Davis and a Iheanacho. That leaves me with 1.5 million in the bank. So a lot can be changed with that. I can get a Vidra over Davis. I can go for someone better over Iheanacho, although I don't see myself doing that. I can maybe go for the Trent route, take Salah out, take Cody out, take Masuaku out, remove a few punts from my defense. I still have 1.5. I can do that without removing Salah. But if I want Trent, I'll have to remove Salah. I don't see myself really doing that because of Salah being Salah. I think he'll have a good run in, and let's hope for the best. I guess this is somewhat of my final wildcard draft. There will be definitely a few changes. I'll keep you updated on Twitter if you follow me at FPL xGod, but I'm not really sure. Let's see. I'll have a few changes on this before I make the deadline, but I think this is a good rough idea of what I'll be going for. So that's it from my wildcard special. Let me know any players that you think I've missed out in my exhaustive list and what are your plans for this week. I'm trying to start a question of the week for you guys. And so the one for this week is, this is a top 20 midfielder this season, but he has only returned in 7 of his game weeks right now. Who do you think it is? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for tuning in. See you next week. Like, share, and subscribe.